Tie the artery, Doctor. Well, tie it. Tie it.
I can't.
What?
You've cut it too short. I can't make the tie. It's a hemorrhage. Quick, oxygen.
Sponge. Give me a sponge. Pack that artery.
You can't. Clamp.
Clamp.
Wait. I'm afraid it's too late, Doctor.
What?
She's dead.
Dead?
Dr. Page, wait, please.
What is it, Aubrey?
She shouldn't have died. You were doing perfect work if Endicott had kept out of it.
Oh, I'd rather not talk about it. Ogilvy, Mrs. Dexter has a daughter, Phyllis, I think. She's traveling in England. You'll see that she's notified, will you? Pretty tough on her, isn't it?
Yes, thanks to Endicott. I know exactly what happened, and I'm going to tell what I know.
Don't you think it's Endicott's privilege to make his own statement first? Well?
You're right.
That's a good egg, Ogilvy.
Yes? Oh, evening, Page.
Evening, Endicott.
I'm glad you came. Nasty business, this Dexter death. She was too well known. People loved her too much.
What's that got to do with it?
I'm simply trying to tell you that Mrs. Dexter gave most of her fortune to this hospital. That's why there's so much feeling about her death.
I didn't know.
No one knew, except the board of directors. I've been trying to convince them it was an unavoidable accident. One of those things that sometimes happen. It was unavoidable, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't. For some reason, you cut the pedicle too short for safety. It should never have happened.
You're right. You're right. My place was with my patient, not in a broker's office watching my life savings being swept away. Interesting how greed and medicine don't mix.
I have a little money, if it...
Not enough. But you have youth. Your whole life is still ahead of you. I'm old. My life's all behind me. Even the money I've saved is gone.
But you can always earn more.
Not if I am dismissed for this Dexter case. A split second, a woman dies, and a whole career dies with her. A split second, as against the 40 years I've given to medicine.
As chairman of the board, Dr. Page, I regret to inform you that we hold you responsible for Mrs. Dexter's death. May I add that your refusal to defend yourself has not benefited your position. But rather than submit you to the embarrassment of a dismissal, we're giving you this opportunity to resign.
Is that all?
That's all.
Thank you.
Oh, good evening, Miss Ogilvy.
Where's Dr. Page, Mrs. Howell?
He's still in his room. I've been trying to make him eat something.
Excuse me. Dr. Page, Newell.
Huh? Oh. Hello, Francis. What's the time?
You've been drinking.
Have I?
Listen to me. You're going to pull yourself together. Go down to that hospital and tell Endicott and the board where to head in. You're not going to let them make you the goat.
You know, Francis, you're a very beautiful girl.
Oh, stop it, please.
All right. What is it you want me to tell the board, Francis? That Endicott killed a woman? That'd be nice, wouldn't it? He's a human being, just as liable to make mistakes as anyone.
That's no concern of yours. If you resign, you admit you were responsible for her death.
Uh-huh, exactly.
Why, you sound as if you were going to resign.
I have, already.
You're a fool.
Thank you.
A sentimental fool. I suppose you think you're being noble.
I've been trying not to think at all. I don't see why you should.
Because I hate to see a man throw his life away for nothing. That's what you're doing. You're giving up your whole career for a man who's outlived his usefulness. Well, you won't if I can help it. I'll see the board myself and I'll tell them the truth. I don't care if they fire me tonight.
Sure, go ahead. And now who's being noble?
I ought to slap you for that. But I won't. You're all mixed up with whiskey and heroics. You don't know what you're talking about. Good night.
Whiskey and heroics. A split second. A woman dies, and a whole career dies with her.
A few days have passed, and Francis Ogilvy still has not told the true facts of Mrs. Dexter's death. In despair, she turns for advice to the dead woman's friend, Dean Harcourt. In the minister's study, she tells her story. The crippled old man listens quietly.
And when I tried to make him tell that to the board, he refused. I could save him. I could save his career. But for some reason, he doesn't want it saved.
Miss Ogilvy, no man makes sacrifices without reason. Whatever that reason may be, it is in itself compensation for his suffering. And whether you agree with that reason or not, you've no right to destroy it by exposing the sacrifice.
I don't believe in sacrifices, Dean Harcourt. I don't believe in eventual justice. I believe that one gets what one fights for, and that only the fittest survive.
Yes. And yet, you'd give up anything, everything, for him. You have a remarkable talent for love.
He said I had a remarkable talent for surgery.
I know, it's complex. But sometimes a viewpoint simplifies things. I like to think of civilization as a great parade, made up of all those who have lived, all those who are alive, and all those who will live. Many stumble, fall by the wayside. Many are lost. But whatever the individual problems, the individual destinies, the great parade of civilization must continue to march on to its own and much greater destiny.
Maybe. But I've got my own little parade to push over some pretty rough roads. And I don't hear any bands playing either.
I don't ask you to believe, my dear. I can only tell you that we, as individuals, are less important than our contributions. And we don't always know what form those contributions take.
And in this case, my contribution may be silence?
Yes.
Well, I've taken a lot of your time. Is there something I can do to repay you?
Yes. I want you to go into the anteroom. There'll be somebody there to see me. Ask her whatever questions you'll wish, then come back and tell me what she says.
Very well, Dean Harcourt. Good morning. Is Dean Harcourt in his study? Yes, he is. What is your name, please? Just tell him it's Phyllis Dexter. Phyllis? One moment, please. Dean Harcourt.
Yes?
Mrs. Dexter's daughter is waiting to see you.
Phyllis, poor child. Will you do one more thing for me?
If I can.
That other door will lead you into the nave of the cathedral. Go there. Sit down. Face the altar. Think about what we've said to each other.
Very well.
Phyllis? Come in, my dear.
Oh, Dean Harcourt,
My dear, those tears aren't at all becoming.
No, I know. But I can't seem to stop. Mother was everything to me.
She still is everything. Don't you remember how unafraid she was?
Yes. And what happened to her? I went to the hospital this morning right after the boat landed. I asked to see Dr. Page.
Page?
Endicott's assistant. He started the operation before Dr. Endicott arrived.
Did you see him?
No. They told me he resigned. Oh, they tried to hide it from me, but they couldn't. It was too plain. Dr. Page killed my mother carelessly, viciously.
Phyllis, go into the cathedral. Look up into his face on the cross. Think of him and of what hate did to him and what it is still doing to the world. Go now, while the hate is still in your soul.
Miss Dexter, please don't. For my mother. I know all about it, my dear. Come with me, please. We both have troubles. Perhaps we can comfort each other.